Friday, March 11th, 2013, and this is the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. On today's podcast, we will talk to Bryan Clauson, the three-time USAC National Drivers Champion. Clauson has already won 8 USAC main events in 2013, setting an all-time record for the fastest driver to 8 USAC wins in a season. In racing results this week, it was a busy week for dirt sprint car racing across the West Coast, starting Wednesday at the Las Vegas dirt track. Donnie Schatz scored career World of Outlaws win number 125 when he fended off Kyle Larson in Maury Williams' number 0 ride for the win. Larson looked to be in position for victory before his car sputtered with fuel problems. Thursday night's Outlaw show was claimed by the TK Express, with Tim Kading winning at Las Vegas for the second consecutive season and scoring 1 for the locals. Larson was the story yet again as he charged from a 15th starting position to come home in 5th. Thursday night's World of Outlaw race at Las Vegas also featured the USAC West Coast and Southwest 360s, with a talented but short field of just 19 entries on hand. Ryan Burnell of Hollister steered Keith and Josh Ford's entry to the lead, but spun on his own with 2 laps remaining. That handed the point to Bryan Clauson, who gladly took the lead to the finish for his 7th USAC win of the year. On Friday night, the attention turned to Silver Dollar Speedway for the opening night of the Silver Cup with winged 360s, wingless sprint cars, and modifieds. Andy Forsberg drew a 0 invert and won the 25-lap, $2,000 main event from the pole position, while Austin Liggett scored the wingless win. Saturday's racing had 3 divisions and drew 75 cars in the pits, and the outsiders had their way, with Oregon's Roger Crockett getting the $3,000 win ahead of Washington's Mitch Olson and Oklahoma's Christopher Bell in the Findlay Farms number 77. For the second straight season, Scott Hall won the Joe Hunt wingless Saturday night feature to add to Hall's hot start after his Marysville win last week. The debut of the new IMCA NorCal Modified Challenge drew 26 cars, with Ryan McDaniel defending his home turf ahead of West Coast standout Kellen Chadwick. On Saturday night, Bryan Clauson moved on to Paris Auto Speedway and won the USAC CRA main event for his 8th win of 2013. 5-time consecutive champion Mike Spencer continued his sluggish start. He led the first 7 laps of the main event, but was eliminated from competition with an engine failure. Spencer finds himself 9th in the series points after the first 3 races. Clauson dominated the final 23 laps of the race, winning ahead of the Demon Damian Gardner and Gardner's teammate Nick Foss, rounding out the top 3. Rounding out the Saturday activities was the World of Outlaws at Tucson International Raceway, where Darren Pittman scored the win in his new ride with Casey Kane Racing. This week will be a busy one with the kickoff for the Spears SRL Southwest Tour at Madera Speedway, where more than 30 cars are expected for the Mellows Gas and Gear 151. The World of Outlaws and USAC West Coast 360s will run both Friday and Saturday at the Tulare Thunderbowl, and the California Sprint Car Civil War will race at Marysville Raceway Park. We will have live Twitter updates from Marysville on Saturday night on the Twitter handle at Stephen Blakesley. When we come back to the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, we'll talk to Bryan Clauson about his red-hot start to the 2013 USAC season. But first, a look at our sponsors. StephenBlakesley.com is brought to you by MotoWear International. Throughout the world of racing, there is a common thread: MotoWear. Online at motowear.com. And also brought to you by Matt Jackson of Proline Pit Carts, the promoter of the Toyota Southwest Super Lates, racing on the road course at Willow Springs. For more information, visit swsracing.com. And also brought to you by qmparts.com, the one-stop shop for all your quarter midget racing needs. Get your quarter midget parts today at qmparts.com. And we're back on the StephenBlakesley.com podcast, and we're talking to Bryan Clauson, who has now won 8 USAC main events in 2013. And Bryan, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
So it turns out that your hot start is the fastest start in USAC history. Rich Vogler got to 8 wins, but that was not until June 4th, and that was back in 1978. What does that mean to you to be in the same elite company in a conversation with someone like Vogler?
It's awesome. It's not every day you get to do things that a guy like Rich Vogler has done, and to do it quicker is pretty special. But it's just a start. Obviously, I think the overall USAC record's 24, and I know the national record's I think 23 or 22 with Yaley there. So it's still early to be talking about all that stuff, but it's definitely been a great start 2013 for us, and we're looking to hopefully keep it rolling when we get back to USAC action in a couple weeks.
And if you think about it, you were racing out here in the Southwest, running in Arizona. This was kind of your spring training, if you will, coming up for the USAC national competition. I think it gets underway in April at Lawrenceburg. I have to think you're pretty confident heading into the 2013 season now.
Yeah, we feel really good, and obviously this little spin out in the Southwest has helped, and on the West Coast. But we're excited. I felt really good about our program at TSR with the sprint car side of things in Florida. We felt like we were the car to beat most nights down there, and we just qualified a little bit too good on the second night, and kind of tired the third night. So we felt like we were the car to beat down there, and felt really good, which is kind of a good sign. They haven't been that great down there in Florida over the last few years, and obviously going to a new deal and trying to gel with everybody. It's you always worry about those first few races getting going and putting yourself in a hole. But we got off to a quick start and feel good going back home.
We're on the phone with Bryan Clauson, who has already won 8 USAC main events this season. And Bryan, if you look at your race on Saturday at Paris, there were a lot of big-name drivers in there, a lot of guys with national experience and wins, such as Bud Kading and the Demon Damian Gardner. A lot of people have some high raps on the USAC CRA this season. From your take on what you experienced on Saturday, how good is the competition level out here?
That's strong. It's probably as deep as it's ever been out here. That you've always had Spencer and Foss, but then you bring Bud back into it, and Damian back. It's gonna be fun to watch out here. Obviously, it was a lot of fun to race with those guys, and it's kind of a good tune-up for what we're going to see, later in the year. Obviously, March track's a little different, but those guys are usually up towards the front at Oval Nationals time, so we got to kind of try our hand a little bit and see where we stood early in the year before we come back. And anytime I think at one point we were sandwiched between Spencer and Gardner, and you're going to have your work cut out for you trying to beat those two guys at the pass. They're obviously always tough there, and a lot of wins between them, a lot of championships between them, and we were able to hold Damian off, and obviously got a little help right there.
And if you look at that race on Saturday at Paris, Mike Spencer got out to that early lead, and then he had a mechanical problem. Do you think you guys would have caught him if it wasn't for that problem?
Well, it's hard to say. You don't know how long it was going on, or this or that. I didn't get a chance to talk to him after the race. We were kind of in a hustle to get back to Arizona, but I felt like on the run before that, the longer the run went, the better we were, and we kind of cut it down from a straightaway when we got to second to about half a straightaway, and 6 laps or so there. So. It's hard telling whether we would have only get to his bumper and pass him, but I felt like at the time we were running a little bit better lap times and things like that. It's just it would have been a matter of if he left the door open enough for me to get by, and Mike's a great competitor and there's a lot of laps there, so catching him is one thing and passing him is another. So there's by no means do I think that I can sit here and tell you, oh yeah, we had him covered, but it would have been a lot of fun to duke it out and see what happened. But we caught the break, and there's been 1 or 2 this year where we felt like we should have won and didn't catch a break. So you get those back sometimes.
And Bryan, you had all this success on the West Coast, and it was all driving for Mike Martin in the Ultimate Off-Road number 16 car. And you've driven for a lot of car owners, or you've driven for Tony Stewart, of course. How good is this stuff that Mike Martin has? It seems like he really gave you some good pieces this week.
Yeah, Mike has really nice equipment, and he always laughs because he kids me that he's not really a car owner. He just lets me drive his car, and we have a lot of fun together going racing, and I think that he's been able to kind of learn a lot over this this spring training stretch that'll help him throughout the year. So we have a lot of fun together, work well together, and he obviously has very nice equipment and very good motors and things like that, and has the equipment necessary to get the job done. So it's nice to have that on the West Coast and have something that you can come out and drive and is going to be good and quick every time you step into it.
So now I'm doing this podcast from Elk Grove, and my wife absolutely loves Round Table Pizza. I have to know, did you get yourself some Round Table Pizza this week?
I did. I got a little bit there once we got out to California, and it's my favorite. It's hard to beat that. I found a lot of good pizza, but nothing that quite tops Round Table yet. So it's still my favorite. I still love going there, and brings back a lot of memories for sure.
So let's switch gears a little bit from the West Coast thing quickly, and let's talk about the Indianapolis 500. And I know that one of the main reasons that whole Road to Indy thing with USAC had really grown the way it had for you was a lot to do with Randy Bernard. Do you guys still plan to run the Indianapolis 500 this year? And does Randy leaving, does that kind of have an impact on that, you think?
Yeah, Randy leaving definitely has a huge impact on it. It's we'd worked together for two, and then this was going to be going on 3 years. Kind of building this project and brand and connection between USAC and IndyCar, and with him leaving, obviously you kind of start back over from scratch. We're working hard to do something for the 500. The hard part about the scholarship is the league obviously has quite a bit of say in what goes on, and we're working together to kind of try and find a situation that suits both of us, and we're working hard at it. So we'll see. Things haven't quite fallen together quite as easily as they did last year. Not that last year was easy by any means, but it seemed like the pieces just kind of fit, and so we'll see. We're not out of it yet, but we're working hard to try and get back.
And so, Bryan, if you look at your racing career, you've won the USAC National Drivers title 3 years running. You finally got that USAC Sprint Car title out of the way last year, and you've run the Indianapolis 500. I have to ask, though, is there anything on your list still as kind of like a bucket list, as something you really want to accomplish in racing?
Well, I mean, I think a Silver Crown Championship is obviously something that I want to join that group of 5 guys, or I think 5 guys. There's one that's USAC Triple Crown. I want to be on that list, and it's something that I'd love to add my name to. I don't know that I'll get the chance to this year with the way things are lining up. I don't think I'll be in a Silver Crown car full time, but it's definitely something that I have my eye on. But other than that, I've been pretty fortunate in racing to have the opportunity to do a lot of cool things, a lot of things that a lot of guys don't get the opportunity to do, and I've been fortunate enough to race in some of those places. So I'm pretty happy with what I've done, and just going to continue racing and doing what I love to do.
So speaking of that Triple Crown deal, the last thing I want to ask you about is the Triple Crown. It's going to be a whole different format this year, of course, with the midgets being split dirt and asphalt, and you're going to have, I would assume, some guys that run the asphalt tour only that are going to be really heavily emphasizing that, so it's going to be pretty tough. How's the format going to work for that? So if you're going to win the Triple Crown, would you have to win both the dirt and asphalt midget titles as well?
To win the Triple Crown all in 1 year, you'd have to, or to win the midget portion of the Triple Crown, you have to win either the dirt or midget points, or dirt or pavement points. Sorry, dirt or pavement points, and one or the other, and then be the highest point getter in the combined points. So just because you win one or the other doesn't mean that you're necessarily gonna win it. You have to also be the highest in combined points for it to count towards the Triple Crown.
Well, it sounds like they've put together a good format for that to make it reasonable, and it sounds like you have as good of a shot as anybody with how strong your start has been this year. Good luck in 2013, and thanks for coming on our show, Bryan.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
We want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of the StephenBlakesley.com podcast. A reminder, a new format for StephenBlakesley.com will include a weekly newsletter delivered straight into your email box every Thursday. To join the email list, go to StephenBlakesley.com and click the email tab on the top right corner to add your email to our digest. Thanks again to our special guest, Bryan Clauson, and another congratulations to him for his great start to the 2013 season. A reminder, we will be live from Marysville Raceway Park on Saturday for the California Sprint Car Civil War opener. Follow us on the Twitter handle @StephenBlakesley. And for the best in short track racing news, you can follow us on our Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and on the website at StephenBlakesley.com. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you at the races.